Testing.
It's well and good.
When we did the thing with Kim for the, I forget what it was, they had like a fundraiser, and we did her show there.
Oh.
They had like a sound guy, they mic'd everything.
Oh, great.
They had a mixer, he was adjusting the volumes in the room. So they had somebody that set up all the microphones. In my box, this was for yard site announcements. Did you have something?
I did have an updated one last night, but I'm gathering it's not here. I
I'm going to try to do that. Let's see. How's this? If it works. Let's see.
I'm wondering then if
Steve,
I should.
how is this? Yeah, this is good. This is in the house.
Yeah, well, it'll be louder when you put your mic here.
How about this? Is this working?
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah,
hot.
that's hot? Okay, good. Then we don't need this
That
one.
is hot. Hi Joe, good morning. I wonder if I should then use, I forgot, I need,
Oh, right. Yeah, I won't be there. Okay. At least Lonnie's confirmed for both that Friday night and a Saturday. So we're good there. Huh? Oh, yeah. I can say hi. Yeah.
check. Can you hear that okay in the house? Yeah. What's that? on here.
Kendra, that was fun playing outside. Just you and me.
Yes, nice and intimate, right?
It was nice in that. That's exactly the right word.
What? I know. It took me.
I figured you had to use it for it.
It took me a minute.
Okay. All right. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Welcome to Jerusalem Shabbat. It's back. And this is really a special service that's an opportunity for more quieter spaces, for a place of reflection, for meditation. The prayers, the nigunim that we're doing, many of them are repetitive with the intention to just be able to start singing and not have to always look at the book or worry about the words and just give yourselves to the melody. Rabbi Shlomo Carlebach says, the words of the prayer book, they're very high, they're very deep, but the melody and the music, even higher, even deeper. So this is really an opportunity to tune into that a little bit more. So encourage you to participate, whether you're at home in your own space, singing, creating your own mishkan, your own sacred space, to be with us here in the synagogue. So to begin, just let your book be on your lap and close your eyes for a moment. And begin to become aware of your breath. Any kind of meditation or quieting down the mind always begins with the breath. And our breath is a steady movement that's sustaining us each moment by moment. And all we're doing is paying attention to it, not breathing any differently, just noticing where the air enters the nostrils or the mouth on the inhale. Notice the expansion of the body with the inhale. And notice that place where the inhale changes over to an exhale and comes back out. Noticing again that movement, that switching over from the exhale to the inhale, following the breath in through the body with the expansion, and then following it out with the contraction. This is just a way that we make a commitment in the moment to say, I want to be here fully. Not here with distractions in my mind, but here with what is real. And there is nothing more real than the movement of breath, as it's our very life. And as you inhale and pay attention to that movement of breath, notice how you don't have to do anything for the inhale to happen. You don't have to make the inhale happen. It happens by itself. Part of the autonomic nervous system. And then when the inhale reaches its maximum length, you don't have to make the exhale happen. The body naturally wants to make it happen. This is one of those processes that's with us every day that we don't have to control, that we don't have to strive for, that we don't have to sustain, but instead it sustains us. Imagine even as you're inhaling that God is breathing into you with each inhale. That it's almost like the universe, the great beyond yourself, blows into you as you take that inhale. And as you exhale, this presence takes the breath out of you. So that the experience is as being breathed. You're being breathed. Divine life support. You let go and let that which is greater, that which is deeper, hold you up. We begin our service with Elohai Neshama, which is on page 99. It's the second paragraph on page 99. It's only one line, one word. So if you need it, you can open up your prayer book for that line. But I really, as we sing it and as you become familiar with it, I encourage you to put the prayer book down, and as you sing with us, that you just pay attention again to that movement of breath that's breathing you, that's sustaining you, and that you can come back to that awareness throughout the service. From tuning into our breath and that life-sustaining force, we're going to increase that, turn up the energy more, to bring it into more song, to more joy. Page 122, Baruch She'amar. Invite you to stand if you're able.
Baruch She'amar v'hayam ha'olam. Baruch oseh v'reshit. Baruch omer v'oseh. Baruch ozer u'mekayem. Baruch merachem al ha'aretz. Baruch merachem al ha'ariyot. Baruch mishalem tzachar tov le'leah. Baruch ha'ilahad ve'kayam la'netzach. Baruch kodesh hazeh. Baruch shemo. Ya la la, ya la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la, la 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 la. Ya la la, ya la la, ya la la, ya la la, la 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 la. Ya la la, la la, ya la la, ya la la, la la, ya la la.
Yechid Cheolamim, Melech Meshubach Ufa'ar Adei Ad Shemo HaGadol, Baruch Atah Adonai, Melech Mehula Batishpachot. You may be seated. Page 136 for Ashrei. page 141. Hallelujah. Let's hear your rhythm. Baruch Adonai Leolam, Amen v'Amen. Baruch Adonai Mitzion Shochen Yerushalayim. Hallelujah. Baruch Adonai Elohim Elohei Yisrael Osei Nifla'o Levado. Uvaruch Shem Kvodo Leolam. V'yimaleh Kvodo et Kol Haaretz. Amen v'Amen. Continue on page 147. Shochen Ad Marom. V'kadosh Shmo, v'chatuv rananu tzadikim b'Adonai, la'yisharim nava tehila, b'fi yisharim titala, uv'divrei tzadikim titbarach, uv'ilshon chasidim titromam, uv'kerev kedoshim Titkadash umakalot revevot amcha beit Yisrael berina yitpar shimcha malkeinu bechol dor vador sheken chovat kol yitzarim bepanecha Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu lehodot lehalel leshabeach lefaer leromem lehader levarech laleu kales O kol divrei shropat tishbachot, David ben Yishai, Avdecha Meshichecha. Please stand, 148. Yishtabach Shimcha, Le'ad Malkeinu, Ha'el HaMelech HaGadol v'Kadosh b'Shamayim u'Ba'aretz, Ki lecha ne'eh Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu, Shir Shvacha Halev Ezimra, Ozu Memshala Netzach Gedula Gvura Tila v'Tiferet, Kedusha u'malchut, berachot ve'hodaot, me'ata ve'ad olam, baruch ata Adonai, el melech batishbachot, el ha'hodaot, Adonai niflaot, habocher b'shrei zimra, melech elchei ha'olamim, yitkada ve'yitkadash me rabah, Ve'alma divra kirutei v'yamlich malchutei, בחייכון וביומכון וחיי דכל בית ישראל, בגלה ובזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה, מבורך לעולם עומי עומיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה ברכו לעילם עם כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. Page 149.
Amir Chavaz,
Let's go. Ya la 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 Bottom of 153. We're on page 154, and this whole prayer, this blessing, is like the blessing that we do before we read from the Torah. We say a blessing over Torah, and then we read from it, and this is the same kind of thing. The Torah that we're reading is the Shema, and the blessing is meant to open us up to that reality of the unity of God as we partake in it and as it's everywhere. So to prepare for this encounter with this unity, I want to invite you to close your eyes again. Tap back in with your breath, bringing your attention to that movement that sustains you, that you don't have to make happen, but that breathes you. And as you breathe, just locate your heart in your awareness and feel how much you love, how much love you have in you for the people in your life, for the world. Notice how that love is an endless well. That it's unfortunately only moments that we sometimes feel the depth of our love. We're so caught in the busyness of life. But those of us who have children know that the birth of a child is the awakening to that endless love like never before. And as you breathe, imagine that that deep, endless well of love that you locate in your heart area begins to spread with every breath throughout your body, radiating first out through your chest and your torso. Each breath takes it deeper to the tips of your toes, the tips of your fingers, the top of your head. And then with every breath, as you stay rooted in the endless depth of this love, let it spill out beyond your body to fill this sanctuary. With every breath, it extends beyond this building to all of Orange County, to all of the families and individuals, young and old, who are hurting, who are feeling loss, who are feeling joy, who are just trying to make it through another day. Every breath, your love expands out and touches into everyone. With every breath, it extends all the way across this country.
those crying, all those dancing, all of those. And with every breath, your love covers the entire planet. It doesn't take any effort to let it spill over because that is its nature. It spills in every direction to infinite space. We just have to let it out. And let this love not only cover the planet, but into the farthest reaches of space, beyond what we can conceive. No boundary outside of us, no boundary inside of us for this ahava rabbah, for this greatest, deepest love.
שומר בכנפות הארץ, ותולכנו קוממיות לארצנו, כי אל פועל ישועות אתה. ובנו בחרת עם קול ולשון, וקרבתנו לשמך הגדול סלע באמת, להודות לך ויחדך באהבה. ברוך אתה אדוני, הבוחר בעמו ישראל באהבה.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך, ולכתך בדרך, ושוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. You can continue silently on page 156 with the rest of the words of the Shema, or you can also just close your eyes
and stay in that great love, in that great unifying love. Adonai Elohechem Emet. We'll continue in the middle of page 158 at the arrow.
תהילות לאל עליון ברוך ומבורך משה ובני ישראל לך אנו שירה ושיחה והאמירו תודה מי כמוך בין אדוני מי כמוך נדר בקודש נורא נורא תהילות חוסן שירה חדשה השיקו גאולי לשמך שפת הים יחד נעמוד והמלכו
Adonai, Adonai, Leolam, In a moment, we'll conclude the blessing on page 158 and then move into the Amidah together as a community for the first three blessings. And then we'll have some silence that we'll be able to go inside for ourselves. And one of the most beautiful Torahs that I find, it's actually a Hanukkah Torah that comes from this parsha that I think is helpful as we reflect inside, is that it's significant that when Noah opened the ark and saw just water covered everywhere from the flood, that there was one place where the waters had not touched, and that was the olive branch that the dove had brought back. And that olive branch was this symbol, was this reality that there is a place inside us, a nekuda kedusha, a holy point in all of us that can never be touched by the flood, that can never be touched by the flood of life, no matter what happens to us, no matter what we go through, that there always is a place that we can come back to that is pure, that is strong, that is connected. And it's that place that we tap into on Shabbat. It's that place that can rejuvenate and bring us strength. So as we go into our own prayer, I forgot where it comes to a Hanukkah Torah, which is that olive branch. Noah took the olives and he put it in a little vial, in a little container. And that's what got passed on through the generations, all the way until the Beit HaMikdash was destroyed and that one vial was found that lasted for infinity, for 8 nights. And it's that one thing that has the power, no matter what, to always sustain and always rededicate. Bottom of page 158, please stand.
כמו בעזרת ישראל, ובדחילו ממך יהודה וישראל, גואלנו אדוני צבאות שמו, קדוש ישראל, ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el, Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, V'Koneh HaKol, וזוכר חסדי אבות, ומביא גואל לפני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ופוקד ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ופוקד שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי מתים אתה רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומיתו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי המתים. נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, כך כתוב על יד נביאיך, וקרא זה אל זה ויאמר.
קדוש, 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 הארץ
קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוא כל הארץ כבודו. אז בקור רעש גדול, אדיר וחזק משמיעים קול, מנסים לעומת צרפים, לעומתם ברוך יאמרו, ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו.
ממקומך מלכנו, תופיע ותמלוך עלינו, כי מחכים אנחנו לך. איי איי איי, מתי תמלוך בציון, בקרוב בימינו. לעולם ועד תשכון, תתגלה ותתקדש בתוך ירושלים עירך, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, ולנצח נצח. איי איי איי, ועינינו תראנה מלכותך, עמוד בשירי עוזך, על ידי דוד משיח צדקך. ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון, לדור ודור, הללויה. לדור ודור נגיד קולך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש. ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד. כי המלך גדול וקדוש אתה, ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש. Continue silently, page 162, all the way through 166.
pure heart in me. Create a pure heart in me, Great Spirit. Create a pure heart in me, and renew a true soul within me, and renew a true soul within, and renew a true soul within me, and renew the true soul within. Create a pure heart in me, Great Spirit. Create a pure heart in me. Create a pure heart in me, Great Spirit. Create a pure heart in me, and renew a true soul within me, and renew a true soul within, and renew a true soul within me, and renew a true soul within.
We'll close out the Shacharit portion of our service with Kaddish Shalem on 167. Yitkada v'yitkada shmei Rabbah, ve'alma divra kirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechonu v'yomechonu v'chayei techol beit Yisrael, b'galau v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevorach, le'olam o'amei omaya, yitbarach, yitbarach v'yishtabach, v'yitpar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal, shemei dekudesha v'rechu, Le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, damiran v'yalma v'imru, amen. Titkabal tolotonu v'aton, dechol Yisrael kol dama v'hon devishmaya, v'imru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Osei shalom b'mromav, hu ya'asei shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imeru. Amen. So we need a little bit of help transitioning to our Torah service. We want to clear out everything here on the bima and then push the shtender up into the center. And if there is somebody who wouldn't mind we'll wait to pass out the little beverages. We're just out of the way. Just put it out of the way.
Awesome. Thank you. If you can grab
Testing. All right. Well, I don't know what you're comfortable with, but do you know that? That would be great. All right. Let's see. Let me just think about this. So let me, before, you may be seated for a moment. I just want to share a little bit before we start the Torah service. So some of the just logistics, it's been a while since we've done Jerusalem Shabbat, and obviously things are a little bit different, but this is how we're going to do it, is once the Torah is taken out, and when we start singing, we usually have the procession where it goes around. This time we'll just do some singing while we lay out the Torah here, and we won't do the procession. But there is some beverages over here, and if there is somebody who wouldn't mind
coming around with the cart when the Torah comes out to pass out, not to pass out, but to pass out the beverages. There is some juice, and there is something a little bit more adult that's there. You can go ahead and take a little bit. And once the Torah is all set and everybody has their drinks, we'll have an opportunity to make some l'chaims. We can call out any from where we are in our seat, anything that we want to celebrate, whether it's something in our family or anything like that, but something that affirms life, that's in our lives. And then we'll go ahead and start our Torah reading. What I do want to share about Parshat Noah, a little bit more of what I shared before, is the way that I've been viewing, especially this year, these first couple portions of the Torah, is it's a little bit about the evolution of human beings and human consciousness. We know that the story of creation, that it happened in 7 days, doesn't match with our scientific story of evolution. But I think there's something about how human beings develop as individuals from babies all the way up to adults, and how we've evolved throughout time, which is that once we have a sense of separation, when a baby grows, they come into being, they feel that they're coming from this unity experience, this womb experience, which is kind of like the story of the Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve coming from this very connected experience. And then a baby comes out, and they start to develop a sense of separateness, a sense of I, a sense of me. And that's also the story of the kicking out of the garden. And we know that when we raise children, it's so important to channel that sense of me and focus on myself, which is part of healthy development, in a way that begins to become aware of the whole, be aware of there's people beyond me. And the portion that we're reading at the end of Genesis here shows people from the generations of Adam, these, B'nai Adam, these Nephilim, these combination human angels that were only concerned with their own consumption. They took women, they did all kinds of things that wasn't okay. There was wickedness. And we know, as we finished the end of Parshat Noach and we start the story of Abraham, that Abraham's father and all of them were deep in idol worship. Right? Those people who built the Tower of Babel, and we'll get into that a little bit more in a little bit, they were all steeped in idol worship. And it took time for them to evolve, just like a child evolves out of their own self-centeredness. There took a time in our Torah for human consciousness to evolve out of that idol worship to Abraham and everything that went from there. So the question is, what allows that evolution to take place? And this is where we might think that there are two kinds of holiness. That there is the holiness, let's see, I guess I could probably just use there is the holiness that has to do with growth, holiness that can be added to. Like the more that I do good in my life, the more that I confront challenges, I become a more holy person. I become a more righteous person. It accumulates. It's something that comes with growth. And then there's holiness that we spoke about before, that's just there. We don't have to do anything. It's not based on what we've done or what we deserve. It's just part of the nature of our soul, of who we are. And this is that holiness that we learn about in Parshat Noach. And so the task right here, it's that holiness that allows us to, no matter how far we've fallen in our lives, to be able to come back, to be able to renew, to be able to take that next step, to not get absorbed and self-focused and crushed by our challenges, but allow us to take them, incorporate them, and expand beyond ourselves. So that's what our opportunity is. I think that's one way to look at this story that we're entering. Okay, thank you, Rabbi Joe.
We now turn to page 168 for our Torah service. 168. Ein kamocha balim Adonai v'ein ma'asecha malchutecha malchut kol amim mamshaltecha b'chal dor v'hador Adonai melech Adonai malach Adonai imlok leolam va'ed Adonai oz li'amo yitain Adonai yivarech et emo V'shalom av harachamim Hetiv avertzoncha et Zion Tivne chomot Yerushalayim Ki v'cha levad batachnu Melech Rabbanisa Adon Olamim. May I ask the ark openers to please come forward? Are you our Torah holder? Okay. Those of you comfortable rising, please do so. Vayehim ben Aaron, Vayomer Moshe, Kuma Adonai v'yavutzu oivecha v'yanusu misanecha mipanecha ki mitzion tetzei Torah ki mitzion tetzei Torah udevar Adonai Yerushalayim Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah Le'amo Yisrael B'Hekdushato.
Master of the universe, I ask your blessings for our Kahila Kedosha, our sacred community, for those who will be called before the Torah for Aliyot, and for all those who lead us in prayer and song this morning, and for all those who devotedly involve themselves with the needs of this community. Master of the universe, spread a shelter of your peace over the Holy Land, Eretz Yisrael. Protect our land so it can be a source of goodness and Torah for its inhabitants and for the entire world. B'tach et libenu b'toratecha. Open our hearts to your Torah. Inspire us to make Torah a part of our lives. Let us be touched by the words and melodies of our prayer so that we may keep you in our minds and in our hearts now and always. Baruch atah shemeach tefillah. Blessed One, hear our prayers and let us say Amen.
So hold on, let's just make sure we have the right Torah. Yeah, they were redrafts, so no, that's
the end. So I think it's all right. I did this last week.
Was she able to find it?
Okay, we'll find it. Close.
Okay, if you put that back in. Thank you for saving us a lot of rolling.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Echad Eloheinu,
Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo.
Hu Adonai iti, Uvrimona Shemo Yaakov.
Lecha Adonai Hagadol V'Hagibura V'Hatiferet V'Hanetzach V'Yod Kicho B'Shamayim U'Va'aretz Kicho B'Shamayim U'Va'aretz Adonai HaMamlacha V'Hani Nase L'Kol
Romemu Adonai Eloheinu, V'Hishtachavu L'Adon. Can we pass out the drinks, Aviv, or somebody? Marsha, we... Okay, this will just take us one moment to find our spot. This starts Noah. We've already started Noah. Noah, Shem, Chandi, Yafet. Did we start? Is that where we start? Oh, everyone on earth. Right. So it's this. It's the.
It's back.
No. Pardon.
Isn't it back here?
Yeah. No. No, that's it.
No,
Yeah.
you're right.
Yeah. It's up there.
Equal arts. Shabbat.
Okay, so I'll call it. I mean,
You're
I'll with the group out later. Okay, everybody, you may be seated. I may ask you to stand, but you may, as soon as you get a drink of something. And I need a drink too.
Me three.
Okay. All right. Well, before we get we have the Torah out, and before we go ahead and read from it, anything we're celebrating. This is, this is a time where we get to, where sometimes, as some of our Hasidic masters teach, that this is some of the deepest prayer when we affirm and celebrate life as we see it as it turns out in our own lives. Rob, go ahead.
Recently celebrated my youngest son's 30th birthday.
Youngest son's 30th birthday. All right, I'm going to just repeat it for those at home. If you're also at home, really encourage you, get a drink of something to celebrate with, and you can do this along with us. Sue?
Celebrating my husband's 70th birthday, and also I get to see my grandchildren after not seeing them for years. So.
Steve's 70th birthday and grandchildren seen again. Wonderful. Rabbi Marcia, anything?
Just being here and being with you and your community.
Being here together with Rabbi Marcia Tilchin, yes. Evan, anything?
Well, Ari's coming home later today, so.
All right. Ari's coming home. Good. Go ahead. Granddaughter's 7th birthday? Granddaughters, yes. Twins, 7th birthday. Double celebration. Joe, anything?
A tremendous upturn in family health.
Amen. Amen. L'chaim. Ilana, Aviv. What are we celebrating? What are we making a l'chaim to? Oh, a birthday coming up. Yeah. Yes, I got a big birthday coming up. I'll give l'chaim to that. All right, so l'chaim, everybody. We'll do a little nigun.
Yanai, yanai, nai, 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 nai. Yanai, nai, 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 nai. Yanai, nai, 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 nai. Yanai, nai, 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 nai. Yanai, nai, 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 nai. Okay, so we do things a little differently on Jerusalem Shabbat. We have a few aliyot where anybody in the congregation has an opportunity to come up for an aliyah or stand where you are and be a part of the aliyah, whatever you're comfortable with. Our Torah reading this morning starts with the people, and it's people, it's really all of humanity, has traveled from where they were, these are the survivors of the flood, and they've gone all the way to this place called Shinar, and they are, according to the Midrash, they are really frightened that God is going to send another flood. Even though this covenant, this rainbow covenant, was happening with Noah, they were afraid that God was sent another flood, and so they built this tower to try to fight God so that they wouldn't be able to. They were afraid, and they went ahead and did that. And according to Aviv, who taught me this, and it is a midrash from Rabbeinu Bachia, he taught me this morning, is that one of the reasons why they also went up and wanted to build the tower is because just in case they weren't able to be victorious over God and another flood were to happen, they would be safe in the top of this tower when the flood kind of went in. But either way, there is this real sense of having an idea in their head of what was right, what they needed to do, that God was not on their side, that this connection that they were a part of, they had so much, the right thing to do is to build this tower and is to fight God. And so much of the time, we get very caught into what we think the right thing to do is, that we sometimes create conflict with people that we care about in our lives. And so if you would like to cultivate, coming up in this next month, a little more humility, a little bit more, whether it's in your relationship in your family or at work or whatever it is, like to be able to not hold so tightly the idea that you're right about and your way of doing things is the best way of doing things in a certain situation, and want to cultivate a little bit more humility to be aware that there's different perspectives and that certainty of being right can actually create more conflict in relationship. If you'd like to have that humility, come on up for the first aliyah or stand up in your place and you can say the blessing along with us. So either way, you can come up here masked to be comfortable, and we'll do the blessing together. Okay, let's move this here. You'll be our representative, Lisa, but we'll all say it with you. So if you could say it into the...
Baruch hu et Adonai hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai hamvarach leolam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai hamvarach leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher baruch banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torto. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
We're on page 58, chapter 11, verse 1.
Amen. ויהי כל הארץ שפה אחד ודברים אחדים ויהי בנוסעם מכרם וימצאו בקעה בארץ שינר וישבו שם ויאמרו איש אל רעהו הבה נלבנה Levanim, Vanis Rafa, Lisrafa, Vathilahem, Lehal, Vahabina, Vahavan, Lechaimar, Vahayalahem, Lechomer, Vayamru, Havanil, Nivne Lanu, Umigdal v'rosho Shamayim v'na'aseh lanu shem pen nafuz al pnei kol haaretz.
Yasher koach.
Haaretz right up here.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah temet v'chayolam nata betochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Yasher koach. So for the next aliyah, this, the way that the Rambam, Maimonides, tries to explain the fact that we have so much diversity in our world, diversity of people, diversity of cultures, diversity of language, diversity of religion, that all of this comes back to this moment at the Tower of Babel. And he even puts a cast on it that even though the dispersion of the people that God had threatened after they built the tower and it wasn't successful, was in some sense, you could look at it in one way as a punishment because they did not want to be dispersed. Again, the way that Rambam looks at it very rationally is this is another development of humanity, another development, an important development of humanity, not as a punishment, but as something that is just how we can best grow and live together is through variety. And so all of the reason why we have these different cultures, different ways of doing things, that yes, those different things can cause conflict if we don't have the understanding, but it also creates beauty and richness to all of our lives. So for the second aliyah, if you would like to be able to be more open to understanding difference, people who are different from you, more open to wanting to hear people's stories that may come from a different perspective, whether that's politically, whether that's culturally, whether that's however it is, but just that you want to be able to listen and understand more and celebrate and have your own self enriched by difference around you in this coming month specifically, please come up or stand for the second aliyah. Yep.
Right here down.
Hu et Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Barach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol hamim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. We're on page 59, verse 5.
Yes, I know that. Amen. Vayered Adonai lerot et ha'ir v'et hamigdal asher banu b'nei Adam. Vayomer Adonai hein am echad v'safa achat lekulam v'zeh echilam la'asot v'ata lo yivatzer mehem kol asher yizmu la'asot hava nerda
ונבלע שם שפתם, אשר לא ישמעו איש שפת רעהו, ויפץ אדוני אותם משם על פני כל הארץ, ויחדלו לבנות העיר, על כן קרא שמה בבל, כי שם בלל אדוני שפת כל הארץ, ומשם הפיצם אדוני על פני כל הארץ.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Our third aliyah is on page 60, verses 10 through 13. Ta'amod Ahuva Bat Elisha, aliyah shlishit.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך. ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר בחר בנו מכל העמים ונתן לנו את תורתו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen.
Amen. Ele Toledo Chana. I'm sorry. Toledo Shem. Shem ben Me'at Shana. ויולד את ארבחשת שנתיים אחר המבור. ויחי שם אחרי הולידו את ארבחשת 500 שנה. ויולד בנים ובנות. וארפחשד חי 35 שנה. ויולד את שלח. ויחי ארפחשד אחרי הולידו את שלח 3 שנים ו400 שנה. ויולד בנים ובנות.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת, בחיי העולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen. Arba Shlishi. I'm sorry. Yakum. And who's reading? Are you reading again? Okay, good. Our fourth aliyah is found on page 60, verses 14 through 17. Ta'amod Elisheva bat Ben Zion de Shoshana, aliyah Rebi'it. Okay, and it is Bishlachai.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamvarach.
Baruch Hanvarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai hamvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher barucha banu mikol hamim v'nata lanu et torto. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. V'shelachai 30 שנה ויולד את עבר ויחי שלח אחרי הולידו את עבר 3 שנים ו400 שנה ויולד בנים ובנות ויחי עבר 34 שנה ויולד את פלג ויחי עבר אחרי הולידו את פלג 30 שנה ו400 שנה ויולד בנים ובנות.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher nata lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Yashikawa.
Kami Shin.
Just after the school. Okay. We have an opportunity for a Misha Berach prayer for Cholim, for those who are sick, and then we'll continue with our fifth Aliyah. I'll say the formula here, and then there's an opportunity for people to say the names of your loved ones. Misha Berach Avotenu Abraham Yitzhak v'Yakov Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah v'Yivarech v'Yirapeh et. Rob?
Kurt Howard, Pat Frischman, Miranda Raphael.
Thank you. Cantor Young?
Rachel Goldman, Dr. Rachel Goldman, and Debbie Solomon.
Rabbi Joe?
Aliza Yaakov Bat Sarah, Leah Mendel Bat Miriash, Bat Leah Vasa Bat Miriash, Kenya Deborah Bat Miriash, Miriam Bat Esther.
All those who are watching remote, you can say the names of those that you want to bring into our healing circle. I will add Rivka Bat Michael, Philip Tauber, Sharon Ruth Bat Chana Ze'ev, Chaya Benyamina Bat Yaakov Shimon and Miriam, Sura Yocheved Bat Eti, and all families who are suffering from immediate loss. HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yimaleh Rachamim Alehem Lahachzikam Urapotam V'yishlach Lehem Meira Refuah Shlema Min Hashamayim Refuat HaNefesh Refuat HaGuf B'toch Sha'ar HaCholim V'chazek Et Yedei HaOskim B'tzorcheihem Shebat Hi Milizok Refuah Krova Lavo Hashta Bagalav V'zman Kariv V'nomar Amen. El Narefana La El Narefana La El
refanala, elna refanala, elna refanala, refuah shlema.
We continue now with our fifth aliyah. You'll find it on page 60, verses 18 through 21. Chamishi Krav. Ya'amod. Steve, Ben, Richard, and June. Aliyah Hamishi. So you take your talit and place it right here on Bahim. Okay. Go ahead and kiss the tzitzit. Sing the first line.
Baruch hu et Adonai Hambarach.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Haolam Hambarach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch hu atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. And if you'll step back, Siv.
Amen. ויהי פלג 30 שנה, ויולד את רעהו. ויהי פלג אחרי הולידו את רעהו. 9 שנים ו200 שנה, ויולד בנים ובנות. ויהי רעהו 32 שנה, ויולד את סרug. ויהי רעהו אחרי הולידו את סרug 7 שנים ו200 שנה, ויולד בנים ובנות.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chaye olam nata betokenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Yasher koach. Okay, you can go ahead and sit down. Shishi Krav. Our sixth aliyah is found on page 61, verse 22. Okay. And I believe it's that, right? Talmud Hechazan.
Minya Emuna.
Minya Emuna bat.
Asher Noach.
Asher Noach
Shandel.
Shandel. Harav. Aliyah Shishit. Oh, V'rav. Slicha.
It's okay. Baruch hu et Adonai Hamavorach.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamavorach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol hamim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. ויחי סרוק 30 שנה ויולד את נחור ויחסרוק אחרי הולידו את נחור 200 שנה ויולד בנים ובנות. ויחי נחור 29 שנה ויולד את תרח. ויחי נחור אחרי הולידו את תרח 19 שנה ומאת שנה ויולד בנים ובנות.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata betochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. So for the seventh aliyah, the last one that we'll be doing this morning, this will be a group aliyah as well. And we're about to read the story of Terach's sons, which included Avram, who becomes Abraham, and Nahor, and Haran. And Haran ends up dying, as we're going to read. And what the Midrash has to say is that Terach, as we know, was an idol worshiper. And that was the whole society at that time that did not believe in or feel connected to that one presence. And Avram was the first person to rebel against that, to say, I know that there is one that is all in here. And there's the famous story of Abraham, ruining all of the idols in Terach's idol shop because he had an idol shop. And what ends up happening is Nimrod, King Nimrod, attempts to throw Avram into the fire, into a fiery furnace, and kill him. And his father, Terach, is right there supporting that in happening. From the Midrash, we know that Avram emerges without being killed or hurt. But when he goes into the fire, Terach's other son, Haran, who also had been feeling some kind of struggle in his own being with this whole idol worship thing, says, you know what? I do feel like there's something greater. I don't know for sure. But if Avram emerges successfully, then I will step forward and also resist this kind of reality. And Avram does emerge victoriously, and Haran steps up in the same way and gets thrown into the fire. So this is a tough story, but part of this we might ask, what would it have been like if Haran had stood with Avram from the beginning? Would the outcome have been different? And so what I want to invite us to is that a lot of the times it's hard to stand up for things that are not popular, especially when everything around us, our environment, is saying this is the way it should be, and we don't feel like that's what's right. And yet we need to have the courage, like Avram did, to be able to stand up and believe that there are some ideas and principles that are worth fighting for. So anybody who would like to be able to feel more courage in their lives to stand up for what's right, even if it's unpopular, and that can be in your family, in your friend circles, in your community, however it is, please come on up or stand. Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et
Amen.
We're on verse 26.
ויהי תרח 70 שנה ויולד את אברהם את נחור ואת הרן ואלה תולדות תרח הוליד את אברהם את נחר ואת הרן והרן הוליד את לוט וימות הרן את פני תרח אביו בארץ מולדתו באור כסדים ויקח אברהם ונחור להם נשים שם אשת אברהם שרי ושם אשת נחור מילכה בת הרן אבי מילכה ואבי יזכה ויהי שרי עקרה אין לה ולד ויקח תרח את אברהם בנו ואת לוט בן הרן בן בנו ואת שרי כלתו אשת אברהם בנו ויצאו איתם מאור כסדים ללכת ארצה כנען ויבואו עד הרן וישבו שם ויהיו ימי תרח 5 שנים ו200 שנה וימות תרח בהרן.
Right there. There you go. Do you want to guess?
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam
nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen. Thank you.
Those comfortable standing, please do. We call upon our person to lift and dress the Sefer Torah. Yamod Hagmagbia, Yamod Hagolel. Or who? Oh, Ta'amod Hagolelet. V'zo Torah Asher Moshe Lebnei Yisrael al pi Adonai ve'yad Moshe
et chaim hi lemachazikim ba v'tom ha'meushar et chaim hi lemachazikim ba tom ha'meushar דרכיה דרכי נועם וכל נתיבותיה שלום דרכיה דרכי נועם וכל נתיבותיה שלום איי ליי ליי יאללה ליי ליי יאללה ליי 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 יאללה ליי ליי יאללה ליי יאללה ליי ליי יאללה ליי
So we'll remain standing. I ask you to remain standing as we return the Sefer Torah to the Aron Kodesh, which we will find on page 183. Yahalalu et Shem Adonai nizgav shemo levodo. Hodo al eretz v'shamayim vayarem keren liyahamu tila l'chol chasidav livnei Yisrael am krovo. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Havu l'Adonai b'nei Elin, havu l'Adonai kavod v'oz. Havu l'Adonai kevod shemo, Hishachavu ladohonai behadrat kodesh. Kol Adonai halamayim, el hakavod hirim, Adonai amayim rabim. Kol Adonai ba'koach, Kol Adonai behadar, Kol Adonai shover arazim, Vaishaber Adonai et arzei habanon. Varkidem kemo egel, Lebanon v'siryon, kemo venre'emim. Kol Adonai chotek lavotesh, Kol Adonai yachil mihidbar, Yachil Adonai midbar kadesh, Kol Adonai yekoye ayalot. Vaikesov yiraod vechalo kulo omer kavod. Adonai lamabu yashav vayeshev Adonai melech leolam. Adonai oz le'amamu yitain. Adonai yevaharech edamo v'shalom. Page 184, Unucho Yomar. Ki lekachto natati lachem Torati al tazovu. Eitz chaim hi l'makazikim ba v'tomcheha meushar deracheha darchei noam v'kol netivoteha. Shalom, Hashivenu Adonai, Elecha v'nashuva, Chadesh Yameinu kekedem.
You may be seated. We're going to conclude our service with Kaddish Shalem and Aleinu and Arousin Adon Olam. We're on page 203. Yitkada v'yitkada shmei Rabbah, v'yalmad divra kirutei, v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, v'agalau v'zman kariv v'imru, Amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevorach, le'olam u'me'omaya, yitbarach, v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar, v'yitromam, v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitalal, shemei dekudesha, b'richu, le'elam min kol berchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran v'yalma v'imru, Amen. Titkapel toloton uvaton, dechol Yisrael kodam uvohon v'ishmaya v'imru, Amen. Yehi shlama Rabbah min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, Amen. Osei shalom b'mromav hu ya'asei shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel, v'imru, Amen. Page 204. En Keloheinu, en Kadonenu, en Kemalkeinu, en Kemoshienu, Mikeloheinu, Mikadonenu, Mikemalkeinu, Mikamoshienu, Nodel Eloheinu, Nodel Adonenu, Nodel Malkeinu, Nodel Moshienu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu, Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu, Atahu Shektiru, Avotenu, Lefanecha Ketoret Hasamim, I am nine, 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 am nine, nine, am nine, nine, am nine, am nine, nine, Shabbos, am nine, 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 am nine, nine, am nine, nine.
Yanai, nai, 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 Shabbos. Page 205, please stand for Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, latet gedula liotzer reshi, shelo asanu kegoye haratzot, velo samanu kemishbechot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, vegor aleinu kecho hamonam, v'anachnu korim, umishtachavim umodim, lifnei melech malkei hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Shehu Notei Shamayim veYoser Haaretz, uMoshe v'Yekaro b'Shamayim mima'al, u'Shchinatu zo, v'Gavhei meromim, u'Eloheinu enod, emet malkeinu efes ulato, kakatu betorato, yadata yom v'hashevota elevavecha, ki Adonai hu Elohim, b'shamayim ima, ve'al haaretz mitachat, ein od. Kakatu b'toratecha, Adonai himloch le'olam va'ed, v'ne'emar v'haya Adonai l'melech ol kol haaretz, v'yom hahu, yihyeh Adonai echad, Ushemo echad, You may be seated. Mourner's Kaddish is on page 207. And unfortunately, the names that were given to me, as well as the announcements, were from 2 weeks ago. So if you're saying Kaddish for anybody, either remotely, invite you to stand and say the names. In the cosmic field, it's heard. And if in person, please say the name of who you're saying. Be well. Anybody else? Saying Kaddish for my father, Leland Weeder. You may stand or sit according to your custom for Mourner's Kaddish, page 207. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, ve'alma divra cherutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, b'agala uv'izman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevorach le'olam omei omaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei dekudesha b'richu, le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Osei shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be for a blessing. You may be seated. Before we share some announcements, and then we'll conclude with Don Olam, thank you everybody for being here and making such a beautiful service, and my deep gratitude to Cantor Young, who also has just really helped make this an incredibly beautiful morning. And to our Torah readers, thank you. A lot of funky names. Albert, you took on a lot, and Rabbi Marcia, we're so glad that you've joined us. For those who are experiencing Jerusalem Shabbat for the first time, just want to let you know, you probably noticed that we don't have a haftarah, we don't have a musaf component, which is usually our Saturday morning. And really what our intention has been is to focus more on the music and the meditation and let that kind of have a more breathing space in that way, and also to make our service a little bit shorter and a little bit more accessible to a broader place of our community. So it's usually scheduled to end at about 11:45, although
sometimes we do have a haftarah, which we're so happy that Jacob and Steve Jager are here with us this morning. Jacob will be leading us in our next Jerusalem Shabbat with Cantor Young and myself, beginning of November. So that's going to be really a pleasure to be up here sharing leadership with you, Jacob. And he'll also be chanting from the prophets as well. Rob and Evan, I don't have anything to give you. Do you want to come?
We have one big
Do you want to come and share what you know?
All
a few
right.
things. I know a few things.
There's always a few things. Nothing.
Well, Shabbat Shalom and welcome to Jerusalem Shabbat. Again, thank you, Rabbi Kavod and Cantor Young and our two percussionists. Announcements, obviously short and sweet. On Tuesday, we will, of course, have our refuah, a Marty Stein refuah nefesh healing service at 6:30 p.m., followed by the Pathfinders program, which is at 7 p.m. And everything I discuss is on our website in case you need to RSVP or enroll. Extremely important next week, next Friday evening is Soul Spark Shabbat. But more importantly, it's our opportunity to say somewhat goodbye and thank you to Bonnie Pomish, our executive director, who is departing to go on to another job. She, of course, her and Patty are still going to be part of our community, so she's not going too far away. So, but please RSVP because there is a dinner at 6 p.m. and then services will be at 7 p.m. Okay, KISS inside and outside the box. The annual KISS service, the Kol Isha women's-led service, is going to be on January 15th. 2022. Believe it or not, I'll be here before we know it. If you're interested in participating in the actual service, please contact Wendy Loophole so you can get on board for that. With that, I'm going to turn it over to the Rabbi. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you.
Evan, come on up.
And I'll just add, before we, just a few things to what Rob said. And by the way, Rob Fetcher is on our executive board, and so glad to have him part of our Saturday morning minyan. This is a really packed week. So Rob mentioned Pathfinders and the Marty Stein Refuat HaNefesh service on Tuesday. Pathfinders registration is closed, but we will be doing another one in February. So if it piques your interest, what is this? Check it out for February. Then on Thursday night, October 14th, is an online session with Rabbi Rick Steinberg. I'll be interviewing him, and he's going to be talking about anti-Semitism in Orange County, what we can do, what the reality is. All of those things will be online. Then there's the Soul Spark Shabbat that Rob mentioned, and then Saturday nights is a Bee Sisters Havdalah at the beach with s'mores and all kinds of things. So it's just like Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, big packed week.
I will say for the Bee Sisters, Havdalah and S'mores, we are looking for an alternate location. Unfortunately, because of the oil spill, the beach is not going to work for us.
So stay tuned.
So stay tuned, yes. What? Oh, they opened it today. So we'll keep everyone posted. Norma, you got that egg shaker? You want to come join our band? We need everyone singing. Adon Olam can be found on, I don't know what page.
I love your shaker, Norma, every time. It's awesome.
Let's rise together. Get the music in our body and in our bones. Adon Olam, Hashem Alach, B'terem Kol, Yetzir Yivra. Zay melech shemo nitra ve'acharei yichlot hakol levado yimloch Torah ve'hu haya ve'hu hoveh ve'hu yeh ve'hu לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא הווה והוא יהיה ותפארה אדון עולם השם עליו טרם כל יוצאים נפלא להתנסה בחסד כל הזמן השם עולים ואחרי כתבותו לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא הווה ותפארה והוא היה והוא הווה ותפארה והוא אחד ואין שני להמשילו להכירה בלי ראשית בלי תכלית ולא העוז ולא העוז והמשרה והוא אלי וחי גורלי וצור חבלי בצרה והוא ניסי ומנוס לי מנת כוסי ביום אקרא Ready? אדון עולם השם עליו בטרם בו יציא נברא והתנסה בחסד כל הזי מלך שמו נקרא ואחרי כתלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא אוהב יהיה ותפארה אדון עולם השם עליו בטרם בו יציא נברא להתנסה בחסד כל הזי מלך שמו נקרא ואחרי כתלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא הווה ותפארה והוא היה והוא הווה ותפארה בידו הפקיד רוחי ותישן ואל יירא ועם רוחי יביאתי אדוני לי אדוני לי והוא And that's how you do Shabbos.
Please join us for Kiddush right out in the rotunda.
Actually. All right, what do you need? I've got a few things happen in the pews over there. Okay. If you can grab my shrimp box, that would be wonderful.
Nope, no problem. I'm just gonna roll the straw for next week. Shabbat Shalom. Oh, it was wonderful having you.